Hey everybody, welcome back to the Baddie broadcast. I am your host, Sarah Jane. Thanks for showing up in my corner of the world where we talk about the day-to-day moments that shape you into the baddie that you are. As many of you know, I went through a recent health scare. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can find that out in a couple podcast episodes ago. I think it's called What Really Happened. So I talk all about what happened during that experience in that podcast if you're interested in finding out more. But fast forwarding, what happened is I go through this health scare and it opened my eyes, right? Life changes when you almost die. You just see everything so different. And there's also, there's like a fear that is reduced. So I used to be nervous about publicizing my book. I used to be nervous about speaking out a little bit more. I have music that I'm sitting on that I was nervous about publicizing because I thought, well, what if people don't like it, right? There was moves that I wanted to make in life, but I thought, well, I'm nervous, right? I'm nervous about doing that. What if I take that hit on that avenue of income, what am I going to do? So there was kind of this fear that I was living with. And to be honest with you, I feel like it's really relatable because who the fuck's not living with a little bit of fear? All of us are. Like we build our whole lives based on the idea of what if it doesn't work out? We need to be prepared for that, right? Be prepared for worst case scenario in case that happens. But the worst part about that is we've been taught to create by getting up, going out, doing something, and then we generate money, and then we use money to go buy. And that's how we create, right? But we're seeing now that there's definitely different methods to creating. And so we've been creating unconsciously this whole time anyway, right? We're sitting here, we're creating our experiences that we don't really like, because our thoughts and our feelings are based off of that fear. Well, I can't leave this job or I can't make that decision because I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm fearful. What's going to happen on the other side of that? Am I going to be okay? At least I know I'm safe here, right? But from that space, we're creating a mediocre life. And then you go through this experience that's like, it doesn't matter. Like when you go through a near-death experience, you just open your eyes to like, I'm going to die one day anyway. This is the time that I have to recreate my life is right now. So I go through this experience. I start realizing like I was actually creating the mundane experience because I was staying in a space that I shouldn't be. I was continuing to sit at tables that I really had no business sitting at. I think at one point in time, all of the experiences that I've had were necessary, but you have to let change happen. That's another thing that we've been conditioned to kind of veer away from is change. You want to lock in, you want to feel safe, you want to feel stable, but that's really the most unsafe space you could stay is a space where you're not allowing change to come in because that means you're not growing. You only grow through change. And the better and better and better you get at the change, the more exciting life becomes. I knew that, but I had forgotten it because of the fear. I live a certain lifestyle, and I wanted to make sure that I could maintain that lifestyle. So I kept myself in this space of, I got to do this, I got to do that, because what happens if I don't? The wild thing is, let's really dive into that question for a second. What happens if you don't continue doing what you don't want to do? I think our minds naturally go into, well, I'm going to lose everything, right? But why is it that that's where our minds go? Like, what if we thought the polar opposite? If I stop doing what I don't love to do, would something else come in to make my whole life better? And that's kind of where we sit and we play. We teeter that line between the two. The only reason you're even considering staying in a place that's not meant for you is because you're scared that if you don't, you're going to lose everything. That is called mental conditioning. I've known all this, but even though I knew it all, I knew my subconscious mind was running fears, I couldn't unlock myself from the cage. I just kept thinking, I have to do this, otherwise I'm going to lose everything. And that's a fucking lie. And I'm getting ready to demonstrate that to everybody. So here we go. Now, I've talked about the power of manifestation for years. I have manifested a lot of beautiful things in my life. I've manifested a lot of not so beautiful things in my life. I am somebody that believes that we are manifesting all the time. And what your external reality is tells you about your subconscious. It tells you about the true beliefs that you have about yourself, about this world, about others, and about how it all works. I am huge on doing reflective work. For example, I went through this health scare. I wasn't a victim because of the health scare. I wasn't like, why would God do this to me? I said, I was fucking neglecting myself. That's why this happened. I was not loving myself. I wasn't putting boundaries where I needed to have boundaries. I wasn't managing stress where I needed to be managing stress. I wasn't tapping into my creative side as often as I should have been. And therefore it manifested into an illness. Now, maybe not everybody's going to see life that way, but for me, doing reflective work like that has helped me navigate life. So I'm laying in the hospital and the first thing I think is, I have to love myself more. God didn't do this. I did this. I did this. And now I got to get myself out of it. And the only way that I'm going to do that is by starting to love myself. Starting to make different decisions. And because you almost die, you're kind of in this space where you're like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to take the risk that I was too scared to take before. I wish I didn't have to go through this whole debacle to get to the mental strength that I have right now. But that's how it works, right? Everything in life happens in cycles. You look at the season change, right? You look at the calendar. Everything happens in cycles, and so does life. So I had to go through a period of time where I learned what it was to not love myself so that I could figure out the importance of choosing to love myself. So, fast forward, here I am. Now, I'm out of the hospital, I'm recouping, I'm 3 weeks into this lifestyle change. I'm in a predicament where I have 6 months and I go back in for another biopsy. So what I do in this next 6 months is crucial because it's going to dictate what happens for the rest of my life. So I'm making decisions for the first time that are so scary, but they're also freeing, freeing. The image I got in my mind was literally, what's going to happen if I unchain myself? I've been grounded for so long and I thought that was my safe space, but the truth is I'm not safe there. I need to fly. So if I unchain myself, I'm going to fly. That's nerve-wracking, but I have to do it because my life depends on it now. And so piece by piece, I've been doing things that challenge me. First example, 10,000 steps a day. Now for some people, no big deal. It's an obvious, you need to get 10,000 steps a day. Well, I was never trained in like a physical family. So as I'm getting older, I'm realizing the importance of exercise and that type of healthy routine in your life. You have got to be able to cook and you have got to be able to move your body. Your lymphatic system does not have a pump. It is leaning in on you and your movement to move the lymphatic system. So 10,000 steps a day is what I have to do. I've never been that conscious about my steps. So what I do, got my Apple Watch out, downloaded the health app, started doing some research. The first week I fell in probably about, I was about to say 6 or 7. I'm so silly. Probably 6 or 7,000. And that's probably what my average was, maybe 5, 6, somewhere in there. The first week I was just trying to make sure I'm getting out and I'm taking steps, and I was working my way up, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize, how long does it take to get to 10,000 steps? What trails are around my house? Do I have a good pair of walking shoes, right? Like, these are all kind of the first things that you're doing the first week. Second week, 10,000 steps. All right, bop, 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 bop. Now I'm in the third week, 10,000 steps. It was 10 o'clock at night the other night, and I was only at like 8,000 or something like that. And I was like, you better get your ass on that treadmill. So I got on the treadmill, I busted out another bottle of water, and I just walked. I actually listened to my own podcast. and I just walked, and I hit my 10K steps. And there was something really rewarding about that, So, boom, a chain released. For the first time ever, I'm saying movement is important. I don't have to go out there and be pumping iron at the gym, but I have to be moving. Do a little yoga and make sure you're getting your 10K steps in. Okay, another chain released. Now, here was a big one. I had an avenue of income with a project or a job, whatever you want to consider it. And it wasn't the healthiest for me. It was, out of all my projects, this avenue was the one that was furthest from who I'm becoming and what my other goals are. It was furthest out of alignment with that version of myself, but the money was the best. So I sat there and I thought, well, if I decide to take this jump and leave this table, if I decide to get up and walk away from this table, I'm going to lose a certain amount of money. But how will I feel? Right? So now I'm playing with that mental. I'm thinking, well, what if it all goes right? I know the mind wants to say, but what if it goes wrong? But I'm trying to change that inner dialogue, like, but what if it all goes right? What if it all goes right? What if, because I'm feeling better, I'm hearing myself, I'm nourishing myself, I bump into other opportunities, I create space in that area of my life? And what if something that I can't see shows up because I choose to believe in a higher self? I believe in alignment. I believe in the universe, creator, God. I believe in that higher power having my back. And now I'm starting to co-create with it, right? Because I'm saying, well, this is not really what I want, so I'm going to let that go. What is it that I want? And can I fill that space with something that is more desirable, more fun, more in alignment with where I'm going? It's a hard decision to make. It's a scary decision. But I made it this week. I decided to get up from a table that I had no business sitting at. And I feel good. I feel really, really good. This is the first time that I've been able to mentally keep myself in a space of like, I think before I was really nervous because I went through this cycle before. And I remember, when survival is at play, it's what makes it more difficult, right? Especially if you have like loved ones or family. Like, I don't have any kids, I'm not married. It's just me, and it's difficult. I can't imagine if you have the responsibility of other life, right? So it's just such a difficult position to be in. Do I follow my intuition or do I follow the money? And so finally, I think for a very long time, I've followed the money, and it just ran me into the ground because the truth was, it doesn't matter. If you're not happy, it doesn't matter. You're never going to make more money. You're never going to tap into miracles. because you're in this space of fear and you're doing things that you don't want to do because you're scared, and that keeps you in a certain frequency. And that's what I was doing. So now I've decided another chain unlocked, and I'm like halfway floating, and I want to say I'm nervous, but I'm not. I don't know what happened. I'm like a bulldog on steroids right now. Like I'm literally fucking psychotic. Like I'm like, everybody out of my fucking way. I'm like, there is no plan B because plan A is happening. I have 2 other big projects that I'm working on that are way more in alignment with who I am. Build them up. Build in those areas. Who cares if you can't see the money right now? You don't know who you're going to run into, the opportunity that's going to surface. So now my job is to let go of everything that doesn't serve me, and to make sure that at least twice a day, I'm just taking a second to tap into what I'm looking for. Literally. I mean, the power of thought and feeling is everything. Prove it to yourself. Try what I'm telling you. I'm not saying go out and quit your job unless that's where you're at right now. But try it. Try wherever you're at. I had somebody the other day, actually. They had asked me, I'm working all day long, and then I come home and I'm exhausted. And I don't know how to get out of that. I don't know how to tap into my creative side, because by the time I come home, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is anything else. I just want to sit down, watch a show, make some dinner, and go to bed. Do it all over again. And that's the rat race, right? That's a space where a lot of us are at right now. And if you're not absolutely loving what you're doing, that can be a toxic space. And I said to them, just start by seeing. Just see yourself doing whatever it is that you love to do, right? So like I said, what do you love to do? Well, I would like to write a song. I'm trying to write a new song. I love playing the guitar. I just haven't had any time. And I feel like if I could get some time under my belt, then I'd really be able to master this new song. And so how do I do that when I have no time? And my recommendation was, you have 2 extra minutes. 1 minute in the morning, 1 minute in the evening, or 1 minute in the afternoon, or whenever it works for you. See yourself playing the guitar and take a moment to put your emotions there. See yourself writing that song. If you're in the car, in a parking lot, if you're at work, you got to excuse yourself, go to the bathroom for a second. Whatever you got to do, there's no excuse why you don't have 2 minutes out of your day to see yourself doing whatever your goal is. So that's my recommendation. If you're not in a moment or a space where you almost died and it's pushing you into a change, then my recommendation would be, see yourself moving toward that change. You don't have to go into a 25-minute meditation, which I recommend, but you don't have to do that, Like, just see yourself completing what you're trying to do. I had another friend. He was away for work. He's doing training. At the end of the training, he had to have a big test. And I had said, hey, make sure you see yourself passing the test before you take it. Set your intention. Why am I out here? Why am I doing all this? Because you're here to pass the test. And guess what? He passed. Flying colors. I have to ask, did you actually visualize yourself passing the test or not? But that was my recommendation. You take 1 minute, and then a little bit later in the day, you take another minute, you see yourself doing those things. That's going to start creating movement in your reality. The question is, when it starts moving, are you going to let it? Are you going to let things change? My job is to lead by example. My job is to say, I went through this crazy fucking event. It shook me down to the core. it woke me the fuck up and made me realize I've been chained down in an area that I don't need to be at, that I shouldn't be at, that I no longer belong in. And now it's time for me to create change in every aspect of my life. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm facing the fears. Where am I going to land? I really can't tell you right now. I really can't say, hey, I have a plan. I don't have a plan. Did I just let go of that avenue of income? Yes, I did. Do I know how I'm going to suffice? No, I do not. But am I worried about it? No, I'm not. Because I'm commanding the universe come to my side. You can bend this reality to work for you when you love yourself. It's the craziest thing. It's like the craziest test. Like, you can't tell me this universe isn't divinely designed, right? Because it is the craziest thing. You have to come down here, be completely conditioned, go through all these crazy experiences, lock yourself into a life you don't really love, and the whole game is to see if you can crawl your way out, back into another life, a better version of yourself. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And so can I. So some of my friends are like, well, what's going to happen if you leave that place, if you leave that job, if you let go of that avenue of income? How are you going to be able to afford your lifestyle? And they're nervous. They're nervous for me. And I'm like, please don't be. You're more nervous than I am. I feel fucking happy. I'm thrilled. And in that space, I'm going to align to a miracle. And I'm really excited for the next podcast episode because I'm sure I'm going to be telling you, guess what happened? Guess what happened? It was some shit that I did not see coming. It was something I never would have thought happened. But it happened because I'm supported and I'm loved and I'm guided. So I'm making a lot of jumps that are very scary. And I really can't see what's on the other side. But that is a part of my job, is to demonstrate that it's okay to do that. And that you're going to land not just on your feet, but in a world where you feel good. I believe that. I believe I'm going to land in a space that feels good to me. A space that I should be at. So, I'm demonstrating and I'm sharing my journey because that's what life is. And we have to encourage one another to break free from the quote-unquote matrix, right? Break free from lifestyles and belief structures that have been holding us down, prohibiting us from becoming the versions of ourselves that we truly are. And I'm just so tired of it. And you should be tired of it. Listen, you are a baddie. That's why you're listening to this podcast. If you made it this far in the podcast, you are a baddie. Like, you deserve to be living a dream life. You know, get clear. Who am I? What do I want? Most of us don't even know because we're so like stuck in these lifestyles that aren't us. And then we identify ourselves based on these lifestyles. It's the first thing everybody asks each other. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a construction worker. Or, oh, I'm a teacher. Or, like, you're not just a teacher. You're not just a construction worker. You're a divine fragment of God. Like, you're a creator essence. I'm choosing to believe that because for how many times have we believed that we're just like so small? And I'm just like, fuck no, we're not. Get out of my way. I'm literally a pit bull right now. I am genuinely a pit bull. I'm like, everybody out of my way. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. I don't care about anybody else's opinions. I know what I'm doing, and for the first time ever, I'm unchaining myself, and I'm letting myself fly, and I'm hoping that I'm encouraging everybody else to do the same. So I love you guys. I support you. Thank you so much for loving and supporting me. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because it keeps me moving in the right direction. And then head over to my website at sarabundant, and subscribe that way so that you get notified for all the fun events and when my book comes out and all that fun stuff that I got going on. And honestly, I am in the void. I am floating around in the Milky Galaxy right now. Did I say that right? The Milky Galaxy, I am floating around in the middle of space, and I don't know what's coming next, but I'm choosing to believe that whatever it is really good, and therefore I'm expecting the universe to bend to my will. There is no plan B because plan A is happening. And I'm hoping by demonstrating this, I will encourage other people to do the same. Walk the path that is meant for you, because the world needs you, right? Like, I need you. I need you to be the best version of yourself that you could be. And I need you to have conversations with me. I need you on my podcast. I need you to talk to me about it. Like, so yeah, let's keep on keeping on. I love you guys. I support you. Thank you so much for loving and supporting me. I will see you right back here next Saturday when you hop back on for another Baddie broadcast. And I can't wait to tell you guys, I'm sure there's going to be new stuff happening, right? So you guys are with me on my journey. So I can't wait. Next Saturday, I'm expecting to have a fun story. Yay!